Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new project. Today I'm going to announce that I started doing video analysis on YouTube. I'm going to take videos from you. You can actually give them to me and on a Google Drive. And then I'm going to analyze them and upload them on YouTube, off stream, of course, because I decided to do it off stream. Gives me more freedom to look at them beforehand, so I don't have to do it spontaneously. Alright, so with that being said, let's take a look at this replay. Nafkiller, the good guy, or bad boy here, submitted this replay. We're gonna take a look at this, and first things first, Nafkiller asked me, what do you do when you are ahead in the game? How do you contribute your lead to the rest of your lanes? For example, this Gangplank or the bot lane. As you can see throughout the game, Nafkiller is going to have a good game, and he's going to struggle carrying the game. So how do you carry? There's basically two things. Firstly, you can go for objectives like neutral objectives or turrets, Dragon, Baron, Herald, and outer turrets, inner turrets, whatever. I think the first one, in my opinion, the easier one actually is going for turrets, because there's not much you need to do there, right? If the enemy champion he's playing against the Talon right now, if he doesn't have that much wave clear, you can shove in the wave, chip down damage onto this turret, and slowly but surely take it down, right? Something that's really important to mention is that you need to have proper vision, otherwise you are going to be ganked and you're probably gonna die. So if you have vision, if you know that the enemy jungler isn't around the mid lane, you can always go for the turret damage, if you're ahead. So this might not be the most effective way of carrying the team, of sharing gold, but if you get down the turret, you have so much map pressure. This guy is going to be down. The safe zone is going to be much more, into his territory, and you're gonna have more freedom in general with your jungler. The second way of contributing to your team if you are ahead is to actually roam. And what lanes should you roam? In my opinion, I recommend not roaming hard losing lanes. So if your bot lane is losing really hard, if they die, if they have a score of 0-4, you don't really want to go there, right? So you need to look at the lanes that are, first of all, easy to gank. This means where you can actually get a kill with ganking, and that are not too behind, because if they are behind, there's always a risk involved, and if you die in that gank, you're gonna fall behind yourself, and that's really bad. Now, when you want to roam, make sure that you push in the wave. Maybe have a ping word in there so you know that this is not warded. And usually you should actually go from, your side of the jungle, take this route. So if the river is, if this brush is warded, then you're not going to be spotted. And, that's really important. If you want to roam and if you get spotted, then the roam is going to be useless. Alright, now let's take a look at this game. Let's play it. You took teleport, Nafkiller took teleport. This is actually not a... In my opinion, since teleport got nerfed, that's really questionable thing to do, because teleport is not that strong anymore. I would not recommend going for it. Usually when you have the chance to go for a matchup like against the Talon, you have the kill potential, you can go for the kill. You don't want to auto-attack him right now because you just want to clear the wave, actually, otherwise you're going to take more damage here. Queuing the wave is a really good way of pushing, shoving it in. Nafkiller try to go for the Talon damage here. It's fine, you can do it, you can try to go for the damage onto the champion, but you need to make sure that the wave is gonna properly push outside, otherwise, as we can see right now, he's going to pressure you with the threat of roaming, right? Now, I think Anivia, if Anivia hits 1 or 2 skill shots at the Talon, you can see already he's dropping real low. You can't take Ignite because this is gonna make you even stronger. The threat is going to be bigger. As you can see, the Talon is super low. Now, here comes the first mistake, in my opinion, in Nafkiller's laning phase. He played the laning phase really good so far. The damage was great. But as we can, if you look at the HP bar so far, the trade was great, right? Now, where's the mistake? The mistake is huge because the red team has a Cano minion and 3 caster minions, and they're all going to attack the Anivia player here because he's auto-attacking the Talon. And eventually this trade is not going to be worth anymore because look at the minions, they're doing so much damage onto Anivia, and all of a sudden the trade is not worth anymore because you took more damage than him. So you need to be really careful with your auto attacks, with your target abilities, because you're gonna get aggroed from the minions. You need to make sure that you're not taking too much damage from the minions, because this is something that most people, they don't really recognize, they ignore it. And yeah, as I already mentioned, the pressure is gone because Anivia is not that healthy anymore, and it's gonna be risky if you want to go for plays here, right? Of course you have your passive, but you don't want to waste it. Now, in my opinion, this, you need to play close to perfect if you want to carry games, and this is actually a pretty big mistake here because the pressure is pretty much gone. Now, Anivia decides to go for the roam here. Why is this a questionable thing to do? This is pretty easy to say because Ezreal is not in the position to help you guys here, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a 2v3 if the Talon moves too. But the Warwick has a pretty nice way of escaping. He fears the Bard, and the bot lane is coming to rescue, and you are already far away yourself as well, right? So this is the roam in general is not a bad idea, but the what you can get out of it is not the best thing, because as you can see, Ezreal is gonna die here, and yeah, usually this should actually have been over by now, but they make a mistake as well. They keep pushing, they're not going back, they're not respecting, they try to fight you here, and that's where you are lucky, actually really lucky, because you end up getting 3 kills here, and yeah, that's just great. However, you lose, on the other hand, you lose the pressure in the mid lane because he is getting free farm, free experience, and he's level 5 right now, and you are losing a lot of minions. I think you've lost 2 waves right now. Yeah, so this is, you need to be really sure when you want to gank. In my opinion, you were lucky that this worked out, but yeah, you have to be more thoughtful when you go for the roam. Roaming is not always good, you need to make sure that you are not sacrificing the pressure you have in the lane for a roam, because if you have the pressure in your lane, you can carry much harder, because you can actually make the Talon useless. If he's not gonna be able to farm at all because you keep him low on HP, because you threaten him, then it's gonna be much more worth than getting 1 or 2 kills in the bottom lane, especially because the Ezreal got none of them. Ezreal's 0-1 has 20 for him. He died in this procedure. So this is, it looks good because you got the kills, but looking at the bigger picture, it could have been better it might have been better if you stayed in mid lane, pressured more. Now he got level 6 before you. This is a problem as well because he can try to roam right now, and yeah. I mean, you're not really able to pressure him. Anivia's level 6 is really strong. If you get that before him, you can actually try to go for the kill. If you stun him in the blizzard, he's probably gonna take so much damage and maybe even die. Now, something that I've noticed is that you don't buy pink wards. I think this is a big mistake. You need to have more pink wards in your inventory. You have to place down pink wards, especially against the Talon. It's a pretty easy way to counter Talon, placing 1 ward over here in this brush and 1 over there, right? So 1 pink ward over here maybe, and a Traincoat ward over there, or even in here, is probably gonna do the job. Not only you're gonna be saved from enemy ganks, but also you're gonna be able to tell your team when the Talon is really going for the roam, right? This is really important. Knowledge is really crucial. And yeah, we can see that you're doing a great job here. You're pushing again. You're starting to pressure him once again. Yeah, now you've been spotted. You attack the ward. This means you have to go back to the lane, farm it. I mean that's not a huge potential of a gank here either, because they are at their turret. I would say you should actually just push up the wave. You have the advantage. You're still stronger than Talon. You have more gold than him. I mean, you should actually try to shove it in all the time so he cannot roam. And if you have proper vision set up, then it's great, because you won't be able, the enemy jungler won't be able to surprise gank you, right? Alright, now let's fast forward a little bit. You have bought a pink ward finally, but yeah. Alright, you have not placed it right now, it's difficult. And the Talons are going for the roam right now. there's not much you can do right here. If you followed him, you're way too slow to be there in time. You need to make sure that you ping your team. You know that he's not around here because you have a ward over there. Talon is not fighting with you, so he probably goes to the top lane. You need to think about these kind of things as well. Try to think where his mind is, where he wants to gank. The gangplank was pushed up, so yeah, obviously he wants to gank the gangplank. Try to ping that earlier if you play against the Talon. Make sure that you pay attention to this. You probably would have been able to get 1 or 2 hits onto the turret as well, but it's fine. It's a really good back timing here. Not bad at all. I mean, so that's roam is not. It's not necessarily your fault. It's just what happened. It just happened because you sacrificed your pressure in the lane. You weren't able to place your pink ward in here. It's not the best ward because, as I already mentioned, he can just take the back route, go from his jungle, and then go to the river, and he's not gonna be spotted by this ward. So I would, if you really want to be sure that he's not roaming, you just have to ward these brushes over here. They're much more, they give you much more knowledge and vision, which is really important in my opinion, right? Okay, so you have no vision on Talon. This means you push this up. He might be roaming. You don't know that right now, but yeah, the lanes have enough vision to be able to deal with it themselves. This means you should actually try to keep pushing even more here in the mid lane, because if you look at the bottom lane, they already know. Oh wait, something is wrong. They already retreat. They go back. They have a ward in here, which is unfortunate. But yeah, you need to make sure this would be a great opportunity to get a lot of damage down to the turret. Instead, you just walk around. You don't do anything in particular. And as you can see, Anivia has so much damage, and this fight breaks out because Evelyn got a little bit greedy there. Still, it ends up being okay for you because you get 1 trade kill. The problem is your bot lane is way too behind for this fight, right? So they are super behind. Kai'Sa is pretty fat. She has 3 kills. You don't really want to fight them. So this means you should not actually remember what I said at the beginning. You don't wanna go to losing lanes because it's too risky. Now this was kind of unfortunate. You used your ultimate a little bit of in a panic mode, so you didn't get the kill onto the Warwick. However, I think once again you miss an opportunity to push this turret. They go for the dragon. I mean, it's a cloud dragon, but if you think about that, you would have been able to get a lot of damage onto the turret if you just stayed in the mid lane these 2 times. I'm not even sure. I don't even think you can do anything about this dragon at this point. The Kai'Sa is pretty strong. She has her ultimate up, so I think this is, you just end up recalling. Once again, you didn't get damage to the turret because you walked around. You thought about going to the dragon, then you recalled. So yeah, I mean, losing a little bit of precious time there. You have teleport. This is a pretty good teleport. You save the turret here. And as you can see, you played really nicely. You get damaged by the Warwick, and then you're eventually gonna kill him. It's just great. Good job on you. So mechanically, you're playing this really nicely. I think this is really unlucky that you don't get him. However, you did a great job. You saved the turret. You got 1 kill. But yeah, the bot lane did not respect the Talon here. I think it wasn't your fault once again here. So yeah, as we can see, the turret in the mid lane is at 50% HP. Now imagine if you pressured it a little bit more. I think this is something you need to do in the future. Keep the pressure on. Go for the turrets. Go for the global gold. Go for the pressure, map pressure, and everything. Now I'm not really sure. I think this is still your pink word over there. But yeah, you haven't bought a single pink word since then, I think. Which is kind of a bummer, especially if you're playing against the Talon, right? You want to have the vision. Now this is problematic here because the Talon, we know that he recalled pretty early, so he's probably gonna be on his way back. And if you look at blue team's vision, you have the ward over here, but it's not that good, right? I think the Warwick might even pass this without being spotted. Now this is pretty risky because yeah, you don't have you have your flash up, but you don't have your pass. I think you don't have your passive up anymore, and yeah, Anivia is pretty vulnerable to ganks. And Talon is coming. As I mentioned earlier, you need to be careful. You need to see whether or not he's on his way back or not. So this was pretty lucky for you. You had your flash, but you ended up, you know, having to use it. And flash is really important on Anivia. Without it, she's really vulnerable. Now, we can see that your team is doing pretty poorly. The gold lead is not that big for the enemy team. It's just 1.2k gold. This means like 1 or 2 turrets for your team, and you would be ahead in the game already. Unfortunate that you don't get the turrets. Don't get the turrets down. Yeah, I think in this game especially you should have pushed the mid lane a bit harder. Now the Kai'Sa is pretty strong. She has 7 kills right now. There's not much you could do about this. I mean, going for the Kai'Sa kill is, you know, going to the bot lane, roaming there. If they have wards, it's gonna be really difficult for you to go. And if you roam without having, you know, without having the correct, correct plan, it's gonna be a waste of time. And yeah, you have wasted a little bit of time here and there. And if you really want to carry your game, you need to make sure that you don't waste any time. Now this is really. This is a big mistake in my opinion too, because the Kai'Sa has 7 kills, right? You don't want to fight her. You just want to have your lead somewhere else on the map. You don't want, if you fight her, it's just gonna mean that if you look at her gold, 6.8k gold is going to fight against you guys. Your gameplay is 4.1k gold, so you don't necessarily want to be in this spot where you have to fight a fat Kai'Sa. You should try to pick fights where she's not at. And this is kind of unnecessary too. The gangplank goes in. You retreat a little bit too late here, and he's gonna get caught by the Warwick. Now you, yeah, this wall is not bad. I mean, the gangplank would have been dead anyway. You kind of saved your team by doing this. Once again, try to avoid the Kai'Sa. Try to keep your lead. Have the turret. Get the turret down. Create global gold, global advantages for your team. Now you have to roam to the top lane here since they have the Herald up. It's really difficult to do. I mean, if you time your spells correctly with the Avalanche taunt, you can actually try to get this kill here. But she gets taunted. You have used your ulti already, which is actually a pretty bad thing, because this is so much DPS for you. You need to make sure that you use your Q and everything you have when she's taunted, so you have the highest DPS output while she's not able to escape. So yeah, the fight ends up being unfortunate for you guys. Basically everybody escapes. It's such a bummer. But yeah, Anivia has so much wave clear. You can try to stall the game. There's not much you can do at this point. You don't have to make the huge plays. Just make sure that you get farm. You try to get turrets down if you have the chance to. This is really late now, so going for this turret is super risky. Remember what I said earlier, if you didn't roam, if you didn't walk around, this turret would have been gone. This would have been much more gold for your team. But you know, of course, the one turret doesn't change the outcome of the game. You just need to make sure that at this point, when your team is 4k gold, 5k gold behind, you just need to make sure that you stall the game, try to look for good fights, and wait for the enemy team to make mistakes. There's not much you can actively do. You need to wait for them to be greedy, go for you. Now you are defending 1 against 2, 1 against 3 if the Cho'Gath comes. This is really risky. You don't want to be in this situation. You kind of have to give this turret up. It's super low. It's not worth defending it. You need to think about it. If you are in the game, think about, is it worth defending it? Can I even defend this? Actually, this answer is pretty obvious. It seems that you were not gonna be able to defend this, although Anivia has super much wave clear, but you're way too low on HP, and we're gonna see that you are eventually not gonna be able to defend this. You're trying it with, you know, blocking the entrance to you, but this is, you know, we can see that you're in such a bad spot. There's no way they're not gonna get the kill on you now, and yeah, it's pretty unfortunate, because they just chip down the turret and then they go for you. Yeah, I mean, you should have just given that up, but I think you know that too. If you look at this, it's pretty obvious that you couldn't have defended that turret. You almost got the kill on Janna because she went super greedy, but yeah, it didn't happen. Now, as I already mentioned, you used your teleport pretty nicely in this game so far. However, teleport has such a huge cooldown that I don't think it's worth going for it anymore. In some situations, sure, you can go for it because you know, you can get back to the lane really quick. You can get Tira and Rod of Ages pretty fast, but Ignite would have been so much better in this game, I believe, because if you got 1 or 2 solo kills on the Talon, he would be useless, and you would have had such a bigger gold lead. Now, Anivia's strength is the late game, and if you manage to get into the late game, Anivia's gonna have so much damage, and especially in choke spots like these in the jungle, you're gonna just destroy the enemy team with your damage. And as we can see right now, you're just demolishing them. You're doing so much damage. Cho'Gath ends up dying. Warwick probably too. So this is, you know, try to look for good fights, as I mentioned, and this is a good fight if you're able to fight them in your jungle. And yeah, Kai'Sa is really difficult to kill. We can see that right now. She's so mobile. There's no reason for you to stick around here. You don't have the damage to deal with them together, right? Yeah, so you need to keep these things in mind. Kai'Sa has 12 kills right now. You don't want to fight her. You just try to ignore her. Try to play around her. Don't actively look for the fight here. Now this is a Baron fight here. They go for the Baron. Evan didn't manage to steal it, which is unfortunate. But of course they have a Cho'Gath. Now if you play this correctly, you can actually get 1 or 2 kills. If you get the shutdown on the Kai'Sa, it would have been pretty nice. But unfortunately, you know, she's in a pretty good spot there. You can't really go for her by yourself because she's gonna melt through you. And yeah, the outcome of this is probably not gonna be the best here. It's really unfortunate that the the stun and your ice ball, they didn't connect because like 1 millisecond there, too late. But that's fine. You cannot always play perfect. I think you played this pretty nicely mechanically, but yeah, the Kai'Sa is just too good, too big right now, and too tanky. Alright, so yeah, once again, this trade still stands. I can't believe this. You were in such a good spot in the laning phase. You kind of let your lead go by roaming. I always say roaming is a great tool, a great way of just contributing to your team. But if you sacrifice your lane pressure for this, sometimes it's not worth. You need to make sure that you are the one carrying your team. Yeah. Don't wait for your team to do this. Alright, I mean at this point, what can you do? The enemy team is 12k gold ahead in the game, almost 13. The best thing you can do is try to hope for their mistakes, try to defend turrets, but I mean, you can't do much more than this. Stay at your turrets, wait for them to do mistakes, wait for them to try to dive you. Once again, this turret of course is not gonna be able to defend this, but maybe the inhibitor turret if you have your teammates with you. However, we can see they rage quit. And yeah, things go the way, you lost the game, but I think you played it pretty nicely. This was one of the games, I think it was a really interesting game. I'm sorry for this. I think it was a really interesting game because of the fact that you played really good, and you tried to carry, you tried to roam. Your map awareness was pretty good as well. Always, when a fight broke out in the mid lane, Nafkala, the Anivia player, always try to help, right? But sometimes it's not worth helping sometimes. So yeah, you sacrificed your lane. You had a really good spot in the lane. You did 1 or 2 mistakes there, but your lane was in a really good spot, and you lost it because you know you couldn't really make use of it, and you didn't keep the pressure on. I think keeping the pressure up is really important if you want to carry games. And yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this, leave a follow onto my Twitch and subscribe. And yeah, bye bye. See you next time.